Why don't you elaborate a little bit about that real problem? Because I think it's a fascinating issue of if speciation occurs, if species change, was there a first person?
At first sight, it seems obvious that there has to have been a first person, and there has to have been a first rabbit and a first rhinoceros and things. After all, people are people, aren't they? And their ancestors were not people. If you go back sufficiently far, your ancestor was a fish. Mustn't there have been a time when, so to speak, the last Homo erectus parents gave birth to the first Homo sapiens baby? And the answer is no. There never was a first person. There never was a first rabbit or first rhinoceros, because every organism ever born belonged to the same species as its parents. And yet, because it was so gradual, because it was so slow, not only was our 200 million great-grandparent a fish, but if you go back further still, they were worms and so on. And one suggestion that's been made is that people really have difficulty grasping the idea that animals turn into other animals so imperceptibly that you can hardly notice it. It's not actually that paradoxical. It all happened very, very gradually. And you could think of parallels like the fact that you can't see the hour hand on your watch moving. At some point, we cease to think of ourselves as middle-aged, and we start to think of ourselves as old. But nobody ever goes to bed middle-aged and wakes up and says, I'm old.